Sometimes I think we look at the muscular system almost too much as string players and string teachers. Yeah, I think this is a result of repetitive stress injuries, and we're thinking about, oh, well, the brachialis, the tendons, the scapula, whatever. And basically we start thinking like physiotherapists because, that's responding to injury. And that's what physiotherapists do. They take people who are injured and they make them better. But with beginners, they're not injured, and they really don't play enough to get injured, and they're very young and all this other stuff. So we sometimes think about the muscular system too much and not about the bones. And in this video segment, I'm going to be talking about the bones and the angles that the bones make as that relates to tone enhancement and making students play better. All right, so we have to think about the moment and the moment arm. So remember, the moment equals force times distance. All right, so let's think about where we're applying force. Of course, we're applying force with the left hand, the index finger, whatever, to push down the string. That's important, but we're also exerting force with the right arm. How much force we put down onto the string. That's our force. So what is distance? Distance is constantly changing because the distance of the moment arm increases as we down bow and decreases as we up bow. And the force changes too because, we don't keep completely consistent pressure, and the bow's kind of designed to play in a certain way where the bow hair is tense at the tip in the frog and looser in the middle to help compensate for that. Tort was a genius when he developed that bow system, and it helps us out quite a bit. But we take advantage of that and think about the distance as it relates to the force vectors to understand moment. So of the two, the distance is going to be changing a lot more than the force. We're really, in most cases, not increasing the pressure on the string nearly as much as we're opening up the moment arm as we're playing. So if we think about this equation, moment equals force times distance, and we want to solve for force because we want to know how much sound that we're going to be putting out. Well, we divide both sides of the equation by distance, and then we see that force equals moment over distance. So the greater the distance that we have, we're dividing that moment arm by the distance, and we're reducing our ability to exert force on the string. So what can we do to both decrease distance and increase force to keep an even sound from frog to tip? Well, we can change the angle and we can change the center of mass in order to accommodate for both of these. So yeah, when you're bowing, you can move your arm back and forth, okay? So distance increases, distance decreases, that's fine. But you could actually leave your arm the same way and you could move the body instead. And so what that does is it changes the whole system of, and it means it to where you don't have to extend your arm as far when you're moving because you're extending your torso instead, and you're shifting your center of mass, which increases force because now you're balanced on the string. So let's think about professional players. We talked about that earlier, and we talked about some of the differences between professional players and our amateur players in our school orchestras and how they move so much. Well, take a look at your average string section in these professional orchestras. Some of them can play their whole lives. They play well on into the silver years of their life, and it's not like they're getting stronger as they get older. They're just learning how to move better, and they're learning how to balance better. And one of the problems is that ultimately there's a limited amount of force that we can exert. Like, students are only so strong, there's only so much weight, and so we have to be able to control distance, and we have to be able to control the moment arm in order to get the sounds that we need. And the very best players sound just as good at the frog as they do at the tip, and vice versa. They are very comfortable in the extreme parts of the bow, and a lot of that is due to balance and motion.